It always starts with fear. When fear visits a village, it doesn't knock. It seeps under the door. It lingers in the eyes of parents, in the silence of empty fields, in the coughs of the sick. And then someone speaks the words everyone is afraid to say. It must be their fault. Throughout history, when the world became too heavy to understand, we searched for someone to carry the blame. A stranger, a neighbor, a healer. Someone different enough to be dangerous. This is the story of scapegoating, not just a ritual, but a reflex. A tale of how fear creates enemies that never existed. Let us walk through the deserts, the courtrooms, and the smoke-filled cities of our past, and ask ourselves, why do we need someone to blame when we're afraid? In times of fear, logic often goes silent. What's left is instinct, raw, primal, searching for a face to attach to the pain. That's where scapegoating is born, not in reason, but in desperation. Picture a village during a sudden famine. Crops rot, children cry at night. The elders gather and wonder what went wrong. It can't be the soil, it can't be the rain, it must be someone. An outsider, a widow, a man who speaks too softly, anyone different enough to be blamable. This is not just a story of ancient times, it is a mechanism, a repeated pattern etched into human history. The word scapegoat has sacred origins. In ancient Jewish tradition, on Yom Kippur, two goats were chosen. One was sacrificed for God. The other, the scapegoat, was symbolically burdened with the sins of the people. The priest would place his hands on the goat's head, confessing all transgressions, and then the animal would be driven into the wilderness to die alone. It was a symbolic cleansing, a way to externalize guilt and restore order. But humanity took this ritual further. Instead of animals, we began to send real people into the metaphorical desert, accused, excluded, exiled. The goat, once sacred, became a human. Scapegoating is seductive because it simplifies the complex. When chaos hits, war, disease, economic collapse, the mind craves clarity, a target. Psychologists explain it through displacement. People can't attack a virus, an economy, or fate itself, so they attack a person or group. It gives them a false sense of control. This is amplified by groupthink. One person blames, another follows, and soon a mob forms, united not by hope, but by fear masked as moral certainty. We scapegoat about survival of the frightened. In the 21st century, we like to believe we've evolved past superstition, but the scapegoat wears modern clothes now. During economic downturns, immigrants are blamed for taking jobs. During pandemics, Asians were blamed for viruses. During political shifts, minorities are accused of destroying traditional values. The language is more refined, the process more systemic, but the mechanism remains unchanged. Scapegoating adapts. It thrives in media headlines, in campaign slogans, in viral posts. We still choose targets over solutions. To be scapegoated is to live in a shadow not of your making. It means being feared, hated, avoided for something you didn't do. Imagine a child in a family labeled the problem. Every mistake sticks. Every success is ignored. That child grows with wounds they can't explain. Now scale that up. Entire communities living under the weight of suspicion, watched, excluded, feared. Scapegoating doesn't end with blame. It ends with broken lives, mental scars, and legacies of pain. There's something powerful about shared hate. It bonds people. It distracts them from internal problems. Political leaders often exploit this. A population divided is easier to manipulate. So instead of fixing broken systems, they offer a target. It's their fault. And we listen because it's easier than looking inward. This is the dark genius of scapegoating. It's not about the truth, it's about convenience. What breaks scapegoating? Not facts, not logic. Those come later. It starts with stories. When we hear the voice of the blamed, when we feel their fear, when we see their humanity, the illusion cracks. Then comes courage, to question the group, to stand with the excluded, to admit we were wrong. It's slow, it's hard, but it's the only way forward. In every case of scapegoating, from ancient rituals to modern politics, the true enemy wasn't the accused. It was the fear inside us. Fear of uncertainty, fear of change, fear of losing control. And as long as we feed that fear with blame, it will keep devouring the innocent. But if we face fear with understanding, with empathy, with responsibility, then maybe, just maybe, the scapegoat can rest. And so can we. And in the end, fear still sat alone. In every tale of scapegoating, we find the same shadow, fear. It hides behind torches, speeches, and policies. It whispers, "You'll be safe if you blame them." But blaming never brings peace. It only silences one voice while feeding the storm. When we listen to the stories of the blamed, the outcast, the accused, the forgotten, we don't just break the cycle. We remember what it means to be human. The real enemy was never the scapegoat. It was our refusal to face the fear within.